Hello, yes, this is an intro. We're watching Star Trek Voyager. It's pretty good. It's officially in the gotten good stage of the show. Um, it's hard to delineate exactly when it got good. Like, TNG got good, season 3. When did Voyager... It was like 3 or 4-ish, somewhere in there. It's more
maybe.
gradual. But, yeah, so today's episodes... Two of them are tragic. One's tragic because the story is really depressing, and the other's tragic because it's bad. And then, what was the other one? Oh yeah, the other one's Think Tank. Think Tank is it's interesting. It's a fun episode. I don't really remember if it's good. It may be. I don't remember. But I remember it's a fun episode. Not in a Sherwood Forest kind of way, but in a George Costanza kind of way. And that's what matters. It's entertaining. So yeah, the first one's Course Oblivion, where everyone gets all melty and it's sad. The fight where we learn that Boothby was actually Chakotay's boxing instructor at the academy, because of course he was. Just don't worry about that episode. It'll never come up again. Don't worry about it. And
Yeah,
then,
Course Oblivion is kind of weird too, but I like it.
what was kind of weird?
Course Oblivion. It's weird
Yeah,
and it's kind of wild, but I like it.
Course Oblivion, I think, is widely regarded as one of the best Voyager episodes, and I tend to agree. It's
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it's
I
just
agree.
dark. Just how many people are on that ship? A couple hundred? How big is Voyager's crew, actually? I don't actually know.
I think it was. I'm thinking.
152 according to... Wait.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to say it was 152, but I was thinking of Enterprise. But
No, you
I
got
think
it. Enterprise, I think, had like 80-ish, maybe 60.
no, I really do think Voyager's crew complementary is 148 or so.
In any case, around 150 people tragically die, so that's fun.
150, yeah.
And yes, that's a
Years.
spoiler, but come on, the show's been out for 30 years. If you
think-
haven't seen it, why are you here?
I think 150 people is pretty accurate for Voyager.
Yeah, looking forward to all those tragic deaths and people dying pointlessly and making terrible decisions that result in their own death and the deaths of the people they love. Should be good. And then I'm looking forward to seeing Chakotay box. I don't remember if he even boxes anyone. I think it's just like sparring with himself in a practice ring. Except it's square. Why is it called a ring? I don't understand sports in general. Like, you might be able to tell that from the fact I have a Star Trek focused YouTube channel that I'm not really a sports kind of guy. But what
Very.
boxing especially seems odd.
I don't
It's
even.
just-
Yeah.
It's just punching each other.
I mean, I watch basketball and football, and baseball, well, times football, but I never watch boxing.
It's blood sport is what it is. Televised blood sport.
Yeah, yeah.
Or it
yeah,
should
so-
be.
Yeah.
Be much more entertaining if people were killing each other.
People just just get beat up.
Yeah, I don't think anyone gets beat up in Star Trek today. I think it's just... Well, not by Chakotay, at least. I think he's just practicing and talking to Boothby, and I think it looks like a vision from the Prophets. Not the solid white background, but like when there's characters talking to him and it's all overexposed and stuff. People are kind of glowy. I think it looks like that. I have no idea what the episode is about or why he's flashing back to boxing. Maybe it's an alien infection or something? I don't know. What I do know is that you should press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. And I forgot to put the countdown on Discord, but that's okay, I'll put it there now. Ah, once again, Harry plays the clarinet. I know he switched instruments. I think clarinet was the original, then he switched to something else, now he's back to the clarinet. I think that's how that worked.
He's a very very good clarinet player. That's what I know.
I don't believe for a second that that's actually Garrett Wong playing. However, it's way more convincing than Captain Picard playing the flute. I love the shot with what's very obviously not Patrick Stewart's arms coming up in front of him. They're like facing the wrong way. They don't match his skin color. They're way hairier than his arms. It's fantastic. Nobody's even in dress. Oh, wait, no. Tuvok's in dress uniform. Oh, yeah, Tuvok. Oh, no. So, this only is partially related to Star Trek. I was playing Fallout 4 recently, and I was talking to a character. I was like, oh, hey, Tuvok, what's up? And then I realized the storyline I was choosing required me to murder him. And that was a very sad realization for me. I wanted to play that faction story. I hadn't realized it would require me to murder Tuvok. So, yeah, he's dead now. And so is Barkley. I murdered Tuvok and Barkley in Fallout 4. They're on the same ship together. They're chilling.
Yeah, right.
Oh, God. Tom's vows? I was also saying it looks like nobody's in dress uniform, but it looks like only the main characters are in dress uniform. I think all the background people are regular. I assume they only made like 6 dress uniforms.
These could be people that happen to be on the home in the mess hall, but they're not actually in participation of the ceremony. Yeah, I can see some of the men and women are in regular uniforms, but yeah, they can
And how come
participate if they
Seven's
want.
still in her regular clothes? She's a main character. Why doesn't she get a dress outfit?
I don't know. Because she already has a dress, so I think that kind of counts as that.
Okay, Balana, it's kind of gross for you to use the term bumps and bruises in front of all these people because, Klingon. We don't want to hear about it. Though speaking of bumps and bruises, yeah, she has also assaulted multiple crew members, so there might be a few shortcomings. But I'm glad Balana was able to look past the fact that Tom is a single father. I mean, they did leave his baby behind on a distant planet, but still, he's a dad. Balana's cool with that. Oh my god, Balana's a stepmom. Well, fake Balana is. So, obviously, we know real Tom and real Balana get married later, but it's off screen. We never get to see them actually get married. I think the writer says, like, oh, we saw one and it would have gone exactly the same way, so what's the point? Which, fair enough, I think. We don't need to see the same wedding twice. Speaking of boxing and things I don't understand, what's with the rice? I mean, it's a tradition, but where does it come from? Why are people throwing rice at them?
It's just a made up just a made up tradition that probably the crew made up, or possibly the captain, because Since
No,
she is the
that's a
captain
real
of the
wedding
ship.
thing.
Oh,
People actually do that.
I don't know.
Though in this case, they're using evil rice that phases through the floor.
It has been a very long time since I've been to a wedding, and last time I've been to a wedding, someone was, um, a friend of mine was getting married to somebody.
That's generally how weddings work, yes. It'd be very strange if nobody was getting married there. Maybe it's to provide them a snack later.
Maybe.
I mean, you're gonna have to pull individual grains out of your hair and your clothes, but you know, you might be able to get maybe half a cup.
Yeah, yeah. Half a
And
cup.
rice is pretty good, to be fair. It's a solid 8 out of 10 food.
I just had some rice today for lunch.
Nice.
It's very good.
It kind of feels like being pelted with rice like that might hurt. Well, not hurt. It's not like they're chucking it full speed at them. But it wouldn't feel nice, I imagine.
I had rice for lunch today with General Tso's chicken.
Given the size of this planetary ring, that might be a ring of rice. Oh, I forgot to say, yes, I think boxing would be more entertaining if it was like Sunkatsu, where every match is just Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I know he's a wrestler, not a boxer, but come on. We can have more Dwayne. He's cool.
I wonder if Robert Beltran was actually good at playing boxing, or if he just had to play for the show, or if they told him to
Doesn't...
do boxing for the show. If that makes more sense.
I mean, I guess he might. He doesn't... I don't
wonder if
get that impression
he
from
does
him.
sports like that.
A gradient threshold? There's a gradient threshold. A threshold? It's not last minute exploration if it's going to take 2 or 3 months, Chakotay. It's going to take forever. This is why it takes them so long to get home.
Yeah.
If they just went straight home at maximum warp, they'd be there in like 3 weeks. But they just keep stopping.
Yeah. They're explorers, but no, they have to get going home.
He called it an auditory aphrodisiac. Is that ASMR? Is that what that is?
Yeah, yeah. But
oh God, Tom.
Autonomous sensory mirrored in response. Looked it up on the internet. Have you ever been to Florida or Vegas?
No, but I have been to Earth. It's pretty cool. I don't know if I'd describe it as the best vacation spot in the galaxy. But, you know, it's alright. I don't think I would like Tom's idea of going to the Roaring Twenties speak. Oh, it's the Roaring Twenties now, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think I'd like to go to the original Roaring
not.
Twenties, like speakeasies and stuff.
Yeah, probably not me. No.
Maybe something more chill.
I heard that Cancun is nice. People have been saying Cancun is nice. Like it's the
Go to
best
Minsk.
vacation spot.
Wait, no,
I
that's in
mean,
Russia. Don't go to Minsk. Wait, is
there's
it?
other vacation spots.
Is Minsk in Russia or Belarus? Where's Minsk?
I don't know.
I mean, you shouldn't go to either. Okay, it's in Belarus. Yeah, don't go there. Never mind. I take it back. I was just thinking of Worf recommending it at the end of DS9.
Hi, Ari. Hi, Giant Rex.
Hey, Kevin.
Thanks.
Happy Sunday.
You too.
Oh, Seven caught the bouquet.
That's
They're
why
coming
she
back.
has to get in a relationship with Chakotay. That's why they force that.
On the bouquet.
Whoa, whoa,
Giant
whoa.
Rex out.
Hey,
Yeah,
Balana, she didn't say single. She just said not monogamous. Those are different things.
yeah, that can mean polyamorous, which is what she's doing with Rafi anyway. But
What? No, she's not. What?
well, I mean, they're not committed to each other, so Rafi could
Yeah,
sleep
because
around.
they broke up.
And Seven could sleep around. So
It wasn't polyamory. They just broke up.
oh, I didn't know I didn't remember that they broke up. I have to rewatch.
It was off screen. It wasn't. They didn't. I don't think they ever actually said it explicitly.
Yeah, they just stopped holding hands as much. So, this
If
episode's
fake
great.
Balana can come up with a new warp drive to get them home in like a week, why can't
Do we?
why can't real Balana? What's up
Do
with
we
that?
do we get a real wedding at some point? Because that
No.
was a fake wedding.
Nope.
We never get a real wedding. Okay, well that's
No,
the only
because-
wedding we get.
The writers were like, no, it'll just be the same thing twice. What's the point?
Yeah, it will be literally.
It's
the
off
same.
screen.
Harry playing clarinet.
Oh, maybe the reason Harry was playing the clarinet there after he switched instruments is because that's actually a copy of old multiple seasons ago Harry.
Haha.
It's all coming together.
I like the line of this episode. We all just forgot that we were playing a part. And it's like, okay, this episode officially makes no sense because the clones are so good at living their memories of their hosts.
Yes,
But
kill
this-
her first before she solves it.
Yeah, this is a really messed up episode because they marry Balana and then they kill her first.
Yes, good.
They're like, happily never after for you, Balana.
It's okay, her husband's gonna die soon too. He won't have to be single for long.
So their ship is made of the deuterium goo. The warp core is made of this deuterium goo.
Everything's made of silver blood.
But unfortunately, this proved me wrong because when we watched the original episode, I thought they left behind Harry and Paris, and I've said a few times they're alone by themselves, happily ever after on that island, on that planet. I'm sorry we don't see any changeling goo effects in this episode.
I think we might get a little bit.
It looks more like the Vidian phage. Like you use the screenshot of Janeway.
Well, people are gonna get gooey toward the end, but I don't know if we have the morph effect. I think they might just like cut away and then cut back and they're slightly gooier.
I think the ship is wavy. That's how they show it.
Well, that's easier because that's just a CG model.
That's amazing that like deuterium goo can like replicate faster than light travel just by mimesis. This episode is such filler because nothing in this episode affects the plot whatsoever, other than the fact that like Voyager receives a distress call from an unknown ship, and it
Yeah,
just
that's fine though. I mean, Star Trek is like 80% filler.
and then just goo, like we find goo. That's it. No one's the wiser. Like, what would we have done if we did find the Voyager?
Well, they'd be very confused.
Yeah. And then they
They-
die soon after.
Yeah, it wouldn't change anything because their storage pod is still dead, still destroyed. It would just be the crew would be a little more sad.
A Jello doppelganger of yourself. Like, I held myself in my own arms as I lay there melting.
Then why did you mention it, Tuvok?
I'm glad they only have 45 minutes per episode because they would have really drawn this out if they could have. Like, you know, I think later we get like this imposter Janeway, imposter Neelix, and imposter Tuvok.
And it's amazing.
It really is, because that imposter Tuvok too, he totally gets himself into the role and he can't snap out of it. And so this imposter Tuvok too, he's like, it's only logical to be the most logical Vulcan you can as long as you're pretending.
Kill her now, Tom.
Here comes the bride.
Vulcans, everything is logical.
They've been married for 1 day, and she's already threatening him with domestic violence. It's messed up, Alana.
I mean-
63-524F. Yes, the most romantic getaway spot.
It's pretty terrible to die the day after your wedding.
She'll get over it. Tom, you're describing what you want to do. What is Bolano every time we go to the holodeck? It's one of Tom's programs.
Does he get her a vacuum cleaner for her birthday?
What does she want?
It's the most selfish honeymoon present. So romantic, Tom. You're going to a Prohibition era speakeasy. I think that's what every woman That's what every woman wants to go to for her honeymoon. Historical amusement park.
Silver? Like their blood.
So, Boardwalk Empire is a great show. With Steve Buscemi, and it was on HBO, I believe. And they show what life was like during the Prohibition during the 20s. And we barely had any federal government, so they first started like some kind of federal agency to hunt down bootleggers for alcohol. Because at some level, all the state officials and local police were like bribed. But
Oh, Bolana's dead. We did it. She's gone.
when you mentioned silver bucket, sorry, Kevin, what were you saying?
It's okay.
Go ahead.
I was talking and I was speaking, but I was saying that we wouldn't be able to have like how about I know she's dead now, but how about we just do what Bramana wants to do?
Yeah.
I mean, you can come up with suggestions for yourself, but you know, what about Bramana? What does she want to do?
Well, no more honeymoon.
Yeah, Tom doesn't care what she wants.
Yeah.
So in the 20s, people didn't really have like running water in their homes. So you
Yeah,
still
I do. Everybody has running water now in the 20s.
in the 1920s. Thank
Okay.
you for reminding me, Ryan.
I was waiting for like 15 years for it to hit 2020 because I hated saying the tens and the noughts. They're dumb words. 20s is where it actually starts sounding like real years.
No. Yeah, the 90s, the 70s, the 60s. Yeah. So you still had a pot to go to the bathroom in those days. So when he said silver bucket, I'm just wondering.
That doesn't
I was,
sound right. Is
I was
that
just
true? That
thinking,
doesn't sound true. At least not in a major city like Chicago.
I was just thinking maybe the ship, the like everybody in the ship are having a pandemic of their own. This is like their pandemic, versus our pandemic that we had in 2020.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah. In that
Yeah.
we're all susceptible to coronavirus because we're humans. Yep. You know?
Yeah, I mean, we're all susceptible to any virus, but yeah, we are all susceptible to this coronavirus.
And why did the doctor have a dichromate stimulator or whatever it was, like right there?
Oh,
Okay, so we do
change-
get the goo effect.
We get changeling effect.
There's the goo effect.
Biomimetic gel. We get that in TNG, right? When Geordi gets a girlfriend with the dog. I believe that's also
Yeah.
Oh, that the dog.
Ariel, Aquiel.
Yeah.
Bio-
See, it wasn't the same person that he thought he was seeing, but instead, it was a completely different person than when he's been seeing.
And then Captain Sisko ordered Dr. Bashir to give him 85 liters of biomimetic
Yeah.
substance against.
Yeah. You're being wrong, Captain. I mean,
So I was just looking at memory alpha for
sounds
Aquiel.
true.
It is a coalescent organism, but it's exactly the same thing.
Yeah,
There are like 7 different types of changelings.
It's just mercury, basically.
How did the silver blood duplicate all the code?
That's what I'm saying. Like, how does it duplicate faster than warp travel? Like,
How does any of this work?
it doesn't know physics.
It does now.
I mean, apparently it knows physics, Lacars. Why
Okay,
did it?
so
why
once
did-
again, Janeway deciding to destroy the ship.
They should have just been stranded on the planet and be like, "Oh well, we're stranded now."
Yeah, they should have just destroyed it.
Like, just fly
Now-
the ship in circles around the planet.
This decision by fake Janeway, this is insane, right? Because if they have a
they
super
entertain
duper
me
warp
that too.
drive, they can travel across the galaxy in a week, whatever. So they could just go to the demon planet to fix up, and then they could restart again once they solve the problem.
Yeah.
I don't know what they're planning to get on Earth that will save them.
Okay, the thing is that she's doing the Janeway thing too much.
She's doing the
So-
Janeway thing of trying to destroy Voyager, is what she's doing.
Yeah, like you have to make the bad decision so the crew doesn't get home. She's an authentic copy.
She's even played by Kate Mulgrew. Wow.
So she's like, well, so she decides to go back to the planet, right? Or no? She's resisting.
Yeah,
itself.
she just has to go to the demon planet and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
Presumably. I mean, we don't actually know that for sure, but it's a better chance than Earth.
This episode is really skating on thin ice. There's no reason or rhyme.
That's just Star Trek in general, man.
But I will
Nothing
say
makes
though,
sense.
the payoff is really great because you struggle to grasp what's going on. Like, wow, how's B'Elanna dead? We're all dying. How are they going to do this? But well, I mean, we know now, but they held us in suspense for a while.
Duplicates or not, I'm still in charge here, and you will do as I say.
Yeah. Yeah.
She was a biomimetic duplicate. She doesn't count. Biomimetic duplicates aren't people.
And so when the gel, I'm just going to call it biomimetic gel. When did it become like when did it become an individual person? Because it was like one goo, and then it turned into 150 people and a warp core and a starship.
Well, it turned into that many people. Well, not the starship. In the ending of the original Silverblood episode, we had the last shot was of the crew just standing around on that planet, the duplicate crew.
Yeah.
But there wasn't a copy of Voyager there.
No, wasn't it that it was like pulling down the Voyager, and like
Yeah, but then they stopped at the very end of the episode, like the last 30 seconds.
Yeah, the last shot. I remember that. What I'm saying is, so it touched the ship. So because it touched the ship, it was able to duplicate the entirety of the warp.
Yes,
core.
it just didn't show that in the episode.
Okay. So, they should have never. We should have just gone. We should have just followed Voyager's original course. It would have been a lot better. Like another Starship Voyager right in tow behind the original Intrepid class.
So, about this episode being very emotional and therefore standing on its own, yes, that's true. Unfortunately, emotional episodes don't really work in a stream format when you're just talking to people and making fun of the show.
I mean, but emotions of like your clones, it's hard to. And then you know that they're all going to be goo at the end anyway. So I don't know.
Certain things are meant to be experienced alone, I think.
That's true though. They're all facing the
Certain things.
They're all facing the prospect of their own mortality here, and we never see our heroes falling apart. Like even Paris, the way he flipped off Kim, it's like, what does it matter? My wife's dead. We're all fake. Go to hell, best friend.
Well, I was thinking of that time. There's those invisible aliens running experiments on the crew, and they lose their cool there because of, they're being basically tortured for weeks on end. And of course, Janeway tries to destroy the ship there too. But it works out.
I mean, they have the transporter logs. They have all the DNA on file. Ugh, she's falling apart.
Yeah, I was gonna say that the inner Voyager might even be destroyed.
Yes.
They really don't know.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'd bet on it being destroyed.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah.
The clone Voyager will get it closer to home than the original.
Every single Star Trek episode of every series, I'm always shocked that the ship survives to the end of the episode. People are crazy in Starfleet.
It moves everywhere.
Hey, Robo.
Hello.
Happy Sunday.
Hey, Robo.
How many times have we seen a real ship be destroyed? So not counting all those time loop episodes, or it was all a holodeck program. We see the Defiant being destroyed, and then they replace it 2 episodes later. Enterprise D. Original.
An original Enterprise.
Yeah. I wonder if Venus counts as a demon planet.
For you to put the time loop caveat in there kind of makes it murky because the ship was.
Well, because then it's 30.
Destroyed. Yeah, then it's 30.
You count alternate universes?
No, we're not. We're only counting the original.
Enterprise D,
The real, the real hero ships.
Like Prime Universe.
The Enterprises, Voyager, Discovery, Defiant.
No, but we get a lot of psych outs, and I think that's what that's all they'll allow us to do. Because in the first season of TNG, I think with the or was it the second Nagilum episode, they destroy the USS Yamato, which is the sister ship.
An
of the
identical copy of the Enterprise?
Enterprise. They blow that up, so we're like,
With the lights turned off?
Yeah, and
They blew up the Odyssey in Deep Space Nine.
Just rewatched that episode yesterday.
They wanted to show a powerful
Defiant,
ship destroyed to show that the Dominion is a threat.
They even put the captain as an old balding man.
And I think that the Defiant, they also blew up. But then they got another ship.
The Sao Paulo.
Another Defiant.
I hate the carpet of the Sao Paulo. I do.
They blew up the Enterprise in which one?
Generations.
Search for Spock.
Yeah, get out.
When the Klingons came aboard, they had the self-destruct.
Wrath of Khan.
Get out of there.
Oh no, that was no, Wrath of Khan. It survived.
Yeah, it was Search of Spock, because that was movie 3, and then movie 4 they had the bounty.
Yeah, they came back to Space Dock with the Enterprise to get repaired, and then they stole the Enterprise to go look for Spock, and that's when the Klingons attacked them at the Genesis planet, and they switched to the Klingon ship, and then they used the Klingon ship to go back in time in Journey Home, right?
So
if you would like to discuss how many times the Enterprise has been destroyed, click the link in the description to go to the Discord channel.
Was it season 1 or season 2 where they come across a shuttle pod that's like moving? It's like anti-shuttle pod, and it's got a copy of Captain Picard.
God.
And the Enterprise is destroyed in that vortex thing.
And also Enterprise C is destroyed off camera. Yesterday's Enterprise. We don't see it.
Yeah, we don't see it.
We don't see it.
We don't see the Enterprise B get destroyed. Actually, it's not
could still be
entirely
out
clear
there.
if it's destroyed. It could still be out there somewhere.
It's not.
It's out there, Ryan. It's just in a million pieces.
So there's no obligation if you find out you're a clone to behave like your original subject matter. Let's just call it.
Well, there's no obligation, but like in this case, they're going to. Because
in this case, they're gonna go down with their character flaws.
Fake duplicate or not, nobody defies Janeway.
Yeah. Yeah, like if they all turn into goo together, would they all help a little bit? I don't get this.
they
That
forgot
makeup
that
has
they're
got to be so
copies.
uncomfortable. Those what even is that? Did they?
It's just
What did they glue
latex
to their
and
face?
paint.
Yeah,
It's moving. Is that CG?
yeah, it's CG.
That's
It's 9D CG.
medical. What can they do? There's nothing they can do, right?
They can die in one concentrated place.
Or die or melt. Die is not really the appropriate term, I think.
Can they take the biomimetic remains from the other crew members and use it to boost the remaining crew members?
They should just pour themselves into the bioneural gel packs.
Here's a question: when everything starts going to crap, how come they don't send out a buoy with the warp drive plans immediately when they realize what's going on to hopefully that the real Voyager finds it? They wait until like the ship is literally melting.
Well, they never send out the plans. They send out a record of like who they were.
I think they put the plans on that probe too, hoping that Voyager finds it, the real Voyager.
But that would violate the Prime Directive, because what if some other species found it?
Well, tough. I don't think that.
Freaking Starfleet.
Let's see.
Violating the
Prime Directive violations seem to be Janeway's thing.
Starfleet and Prime Directive violations. Name a more iconic duo.
Right. Friendship 1?
That doesn't count. That was like 1980. Come on.
Her eyelid is drooping.
If they had turned around the moment they figured out they were copies, they 100% would have made it. it would have been fine.
They should have just made circles around the planet. Checked out the nearby solar system. Been
They
like,
could have just hung out for a while, figured out what was going on, and then once they solved it, used their fancy enhanced warp drive to just go to Earth anyway.
Look, the ship is like falling apart. This is so sad. This is like the saddest state.
Janeway's like barely even there.
One good thing though, the word intrepid
What
means this.
What about the mobile emitter? Did they have a copy of the mobile emitter?
Yeah, it's goo mobile emitter.
Yeah, it's probably broken down by now. How are these people still alive? Because surely their internal organs look like this too, right?
They never needed them in the first place, Ryan.
Like, how do...
They're just a simulation of organs.
Okay, so this episode's over. We're just going to
So
drag it out for like a few more minutes.
The fact that all their veins and capillaries are 100% collapsed by this point doesn't matter.
Nope. They never needed them to begin with.
Did they do extra revenge on Seven over here? She's way worse than anybody else. Like, they're just so used to lathering it on her.
Well, they had to really drive it home to take the most attractive character and then make them the most
hideous.
She looks like the guy in RoboCop that gets
Why are you
hit
calling
with the
me like
chemicals.
hideous?
Uh-oh. She made a mistake making him medical officer. He's drunk with power already. Turn the ship around. We have to find Kess. What?
The hopelessness and desperation we're feeling at this point is pretty messed up.
The ship's database and personal logs. What is?
I assume that
I
would
don't know what
include the plans
database
for the warp
includes.
drive.
Right, and the buoy's made of the same goo, so what? There's no point.
What's the point?
There's no point.
Doesn't she say build it out of unaffected components?
But where do they get unaffected components? They just have like some lettuce.
Just broadcast it on frequency and hope somebody picks it up, but it's gone. Sorry, there's no database.
Here's the thing. You will be forgotten. Congratulations.
I think they're getting worse with each shot.
What unaffected components, Seven? Where did you get unaffected components?
If they would be really handy right about now.
Trading, replicating. I don't know.
I think she means that like for now it's unaffected.
Yeah, everything replicated has been affected.
Yeah.
It's only stuff they brought on the ship from somewhere else.
So parts that she traded.
Okay.
Parts they scavenged. Parts they traded.
So how come the food that they ate doesn't count as unaffected components? Anyway, you can't think too much about this episode because they didn't put that much thought into it. They're like, hey, remember that thing?
Those screens are in perfect condition.
Yeah, remember that planet we visited 2 seasons ago? Let's just do something crazy with that plot.
The thing is,
Wow.
we have to accept, I know this is really tough for Star Trek fans, but we have to accept that, Star Trek doesn't really hold up to any type of scrutiny. Are still trying to look for, in-universe explanations for why there's, giant plot holes and stuff. Just accept it and enjoy it.
No, and Ryan was saying earlier, every episode you could say, yeah, there's no way they would have survived that because this would have happened.
Harry Kim finally gets to be in command.
Our crew would have been so dead, but already.
By the time anyone was left
to die.
By the time you were captain, there'd be no one left to call you anything.
Yeah.
What episode is that from?
That's DS. I don't know what episode, but it's Nog and Chief O'Brien talking.
I don't think this episode understands how computer components work. You can't have one core melt or one transmission relay melt.
What happened to the antimatter containment pods? Are they okay?
Yeah. You can't have certain components fail and the
look at those walls and that door, the replicator, the beds. The rail. Oh, actually, that railing is a
ship.
little bit bendy.
Well, the antimatter containment pods rely on the magnetic fields to contain the antimatter. So as long as the magnetic fields are okay, it doesn't matter what happens to the structure and the shape.
But I'm saying there's power transmission lines. You know, you can't have entire.
Oh yes, yeah. Like I said, this episode does not hold up to scrutiny. Like you can't think about it.
No, you shouldn't.
Star Trek in general does not hold up to scrutiny, which is why we're here, I guess, to point out all the ways it does not.
Like the George Costanza episode that's coming up.
Wait, why? Wait, here's a question. Why is it only their skin that looks like that and not their clothing? Because the clothing presumably is made out of the same stuff as the rest of them.
Because
so
this episode makes no sense, that's why. It doesn't hold up to scrutiny. We've established this.
And if the uniforms aren't affected, how come the Voyager doesn't come across a cloud of silver particles and empty uniforms?
You know, I'm reminded of the changeling female, and like how when she was falling apart at the end, like her clothing was like in cut up in tatters too. So they would have to do that.
Her
with
clothing had the same effect as her skin. Yeah.
Yeah. So we have to do that with every single character here, and I think like uniforms cost money, everything costs money. So it's like I don't think.
And well, they just put latex directly onto it and then they peel it off when they're done. Hopefully.
Yeah, but you know how you have to cut a triangle into the shirt and all that.
No, you just put it directly onto the uniform.
Oh, okay.
It's the Voyager.
How's the view screen working? Well,
how come in that episode where Captain Picard lives another life, how come a species was able to imprint perfect information to an alien species they didn't know who it would be into their brain to make them relive a life, but they didn't have interstellar travel or anything besides simple rockets?
And they didn't know that the person was even going to be a similar shape as them?
I mean, how did the probe escape the solar system fast enough that it wasn't destroyed by the exploding star?
Fair enough. They had a few years till their sun went supernova, so they did it beforehand. It's not too
yeah, just in general, Star Trek episodes don't make sense if you think about them too hard.
See, like the computer's starting to like slur its words.
How come they didn't do this?
How come 709 has authority to eject the warp core? When she's tried to betray them multiple times.
I think she's chief engineer after B'Elanna dies, basically.
Now, did the warp core eject? Because we didn't see it come out. And when I did a compilation of all the warp core ejection failures, I counted this as a failure.
Wait, how would you feel if you were Carrie and a non-commissioned crew member who didn't even go to the academy is promoted to chief engineer ahead of you in the event that B'Elanna is incapacitated?
He's real smart.
I think stuff is melting, so I don't think melting Carrie really cares right now. Carrie's not even in this episode, so we don't care what he thinks particularly.
I don't know why he really even cares if they meet up with Voyager. They can't help them.
Yeah, what are they gonna do? Like, put Play-Doh into your biomimetic goo? Hey, look, that's another imposter, Harry.
Poor Harry.
Instead of counting how many times a real ship has been destroyed on Star Trek, we should count how many times a real crewman has been killed. So Tasha.
What do you mean by real crewmen?
Well, I'm saying
like not red shirts.
Yeah, I guess it would have to be like a major, like your name.
I've been rewatching TNG again, and I'm picking up a lot more little things that I didn't notice before. And it's like my 10th watch through.
Oh wow! Look, that's a cloud.
Oh, you know the episode where Data gets a girlfriend?
Yeah.
And he's super creepy about it. Yes.
Lieutenant.
He uses contractions in that episode.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a second. How can he be using contractions?
He smiles even in season 1 at jokes. Like Worf says, "What's a Yankee traitor?" And Data doesn't answer him. He just smirks. Like, I get it, you don't.
I don't know why Janeway seems personally affected by this. Like, she doesn't know who's... Yeah, whatever. So, yeah, that's an episode I think works a lot better if you watch it by yourself and not in a format where 3 people are talking over the episode and talking about the plot holes.
Very sad episode. Very sad.
It's a really, really good episode. It's just all
Yeah,
that nuance is
it is.
lost
Yeah.
in this format.
Yeah. True.
with three sarcastic people talking forward.
Now, the fight is not like that. The fight, as far as
Oh
I
my
remember,
God.
is just bad. I don't know why it's bad. I just remember it being bad.
It's because Chakotay as a boxer is just like, why are we watching this on my screen right now?
I keep thinking
I think-
about how that last episode is better watched alone. I was reminded of Halo ODST. Like, it's a very slow and somber game. Unless you play it in 4-player co-op, then it's crazy action all the time. Completely ruins the dramatic tone. Some things you just do yourself. Doesn't work in a group setting. Or playing a horror game with the lights on and your friends watching. It doesn't really work.
So, when I was in college,
Well, that,
I had,
press play in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play. While you were in college.
I had a pretty powerful PC, and I had a 5.1 surround sound system. And we were playing. Me and my friend were in my dorm room, the lights off, playing Doom 3, which it had a lot of jump scares and stuff. And I had the window cracked. Well, another one of our friends down the hallway had been taking a nap. He had his window open, and I guess the sound of like Doom 3 woke him up. And he actually climbed out of the window, walked along the edge of the window, and came right up to my window, which I had the blinds shut but the window open. And we're like playing the game, and they're in this like quiet lull period, where like nothing has happened yet, or and all of a sudden he like goes really loud through the window, and we both jump, and he starts cracking up. Like, you climbed out on the edge of the window all the way over here just to do that.
Yeah, of course.
It was epic,
So-
but
I now remember why this episode is bad. After seeing the intro. So the premise of the episode is Chakotay is a mystical figure and is the only one who can communicate with these weird subspace aliens. It's I don't think we get an Akuchi Moya, but we do get we must enter Chakotay's mind so we can see what he sees.
what was the fake consultant they had? What was their actual origin?
Well, the first thing I want to note is that story is generally considered to be apocryphal. And he was like consulted actually on like a half of one episode. But that his name was Jamake Highwater. Well, his fake name was Jamake Highwater. I don't think this has to do with him being Native American exactly. It's just for some reason, Chakotay's the only one who can hear the aliens or talk to them. They might be microscopic, they might be in a layer of subspace or something, I don't know.
Maybe because he's done so much synthetic
Space drugs?
peyote that it opened his mind. Yeah.
Good, kill him. Kill Chakotay.
This reminds me of Eyes in the Dark, One Moon Circles.
Guest star Ray Walston. That's Boothby. Come on, Chakotay, just give him an Akuchi Moya. It'll all work out.
He just said, "No, you're not an old man."
Yeah, and the weird aliens go all prophets, and that's why they're like talking to him through his memories of boxing. Boothby, of course he was.
Forgot what Tyrellians look like.
I think there are like 4 species that are all called Tyrellian, but they're spelled like slightly differently. Okay, it looks like I might be thinking of someone else. I just looked up Tyrellian, and they're just TOS humans. They're just TOS space humans. I think Boothby being here reminds me of like Star Trek books or fan fiction stories about Star Trek, where they just the premise of every single one seems to be, oh, what if the characters from the different shows teamed up? It's like not we don't have to use Boothby in everything. It can be a different guy. Is that right? That doesn't sound right. Are you sure about that, Boothby? I feel like being punched isn't ideal.
Ask Muhammad Ali. Oh wait, you can't.
I don't know nearly enough about Muhammad Ali to understand why.
Muhammad Ali just he kept boxing past his prime because his entourage basically
Okay, that is not a TOS alien.
forced him
TOS human.
because they wanted money. They basically like leeching off of him, and they needed money, and so he kept fighting past well beyond when he should have stopped, and he got traumatic brain injury just because he could like he had the ability to let the opponent punch the crap out of him and tire themselves out, and then he would win when they were exhausted, but he would just take a beating.
Yeah, it was called rope-a-dope. Go ahead, John.
Yeah. I remember people talked about
That was later in his career. Like in the beginning of his career, he was just super fast. He was
very hard to hear.
The other boxers would train with like featherweight boxers when they're getting ready to fight him because he was a heavyweight, but he moved like a featherweight.
Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The doctor is so funny. When he said good guess. So how did the Boothby thing happen?
What part of Boothby? Just like the fact that he's a boxing instructor?
How did the gardener become the boxing instructor?
Because it's a fan fiction where all the characters from all the series just team up. That's how it works.
But so there's 2 things that come to mind. First of all, Rocky, but I believe at the same time, because this is 1999, Martin Scorsese came out with a film called Raging Bull, and it was about Jack LaMotta. Okay, I'm sorry, Raging Bull's from 1980, not 1999. But having said that, from 1980, it's still a black and white film. And he chose to make it black and white because, the lights, camera, action of like a boxing ring is more stark. But Rocky also, like, he had this old boxing coach, really old, bald guy, who was like, "It's over, Rock." And so it's a reference to like both of those. Like it's stark black and white cinema, like a boxing match should be. and you get your old coach who's egging you on.
Okay, boxing would be much more interesting if they could use energy weapons.
You know, boxing is actually an inhumane sport. I feel like you just put two people, you know how you make two chickens fight each other in a cockfight, or even worse, two dogs. You're just putting two people at each other, and I guess it would be a cool sport, but also it's famously corrupt because the mafia or organized crime will always bribe one person to like lose on purpose because they make more money that way. So it's corrupt. It's injurious to your health. You pit two human beings against each other in a battle of abuse. It's a little too much, but fun to watch when you got Boothby as your boxing coach. I'm not going to say it's not fun.
I'm sure 24th century pugilism doesn't have the same types of trappings that 20th century pugilism had.
I don't know, like
How much more
Nausicaans-
advanced can you get with punching each other? It feels like there's very few
Yeah.
advancements to make.
I'm talking about the ancillary stuff, like he was mentioning the corruption and the exploitation and all that stuff, the injuries. I'm pretty
I don't
sure,
know.
like
the only
you get a
boxing we've seen in the
concussion, you
future
go to
is this and a god and a demigod punching each other.
Well, we get Seven who does wrestling.
We get to see Cisco and Q box.
Yeah, the god and the demigod.
Oh, yeah. I guess Cisco is a demigod.
He's half god.
At that point, it wasn't revealed that he was, though. I don't think.
And there's no way the writers had actually thought of it at that point. It wasn't just not revealed; it
No.
wasn't written.
Okay, this thing makes no
There's
sense
no
here.
way.
Sorry. Seven says chaotic space exists randomly, and so there's basically a level of subspace, like Ryan has mentioned before, how like there's infinite layers of subspace, basically. And so they have this random encounter with chaotic space, beings live in it, and it's a part of subspace that we can't predict.
And yes, The Rock did punch Seven, but that wasn't a boxing match. That was a wrestling match with The Rock.
That was a Sukata match, right?
Tsungatsa. Yes, with Martok. Martok was there too. He's pretty cool.
He was the Hirogen.
Yeah.
He didn't make a very imposing Hirogen, actually. Now that I think of it, he was pretty small. Which makes you
Raging
think
Bull.
he was mostly pretty
Raging Bull's
small.
a really amazing movie. I had to watch it for film class in college, and I think it's the
Raging
only.
Bull.
Yeah. The thing is that one of the things that the boxer does is that he just has to, because it's about pumping yourself up. So when he punches the boxing bag like by himself, he says like, "I'm the boss. I'm 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 the boss."
I like Chakotay's custom Native American upholstery here, just to really emphasize it.
Yeah, that's how we know we were in his quarters.
It's, all right. So the actor, Beltran,
Yeah.
he wasn't Native American, he was Mexican, right? Would that catch flack nowadays?
I mean,
Well,
Mexicans
mean-
have Aztec in them, right? Like native Mexicans.
Well, not all Mexicans. I mean, at this point, there might be enough, like, but there's some, so this might shock you, but
Like
there's a
Native
little bit of
American
classism in
civilizations
Mexico.
didn't end at the border. There were Native American civilizations in Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
There's a little bit of, no, you're right. I guess they're Native Americans, but it's a different kind of Native American.
No, sorry.
There's classism in Mexico if you descended from Spanish settlers or if you descended from natives, and then obviously there's people that have both ancestry.
Yeah.
So he could be one or the other, or
Both.
a blend. Yeah.
Okay, but
He's just Robert Beltran. He's him.
we don't, right? And so something crazy, like when the Spaniards settled into Mexico, they just like kept many women. to themselves. So like there was a considerable amount of European DNA being introduced into
Yeah, that's what the Spanish did
population.
everywhere they went. Like the
Yeah.
Philippines.
Yeah. So no, but what I'm saying, Mexico was their original game plan for that. But the funny thing is though, so at my job, I often interview many Mexicans for social services, and so you ask them to identify, okay, besides Hispanic or Latino, are you white Hispanic or black Hispanic or what else? They do not identify with any other racial category other than like Hispanic or Latino. And so like we try to say, well, I mean, are you Native American Hispanic or white Hispanic? They're like, nope, I'm just Latino. So it's kind of funny that they themselves don't make that distinction. But yeah, and you and I are discussing of how much Spaniard blood is in Robert Beltran or not.
We don't know. I don't know. We had to look it up. Maybe he's disclosed it somewhere. But
speaking of things we don't know, what's happening here? Why is the doctor yelling at Chakotay?
Oh, this episode's great because okay, because I remember we discussed is the Vision Quest real? And like the answer seems no. Like obviously you're not talking to your dead ancestors.
Well, I mean, maybe your spirit animal's in a subspace domain.
Over here, he does meet the grandfather, and he does get them out. And so, and he's a human telepath basically, right? Like if we didn't have Chakotay, we'd have like some Vulcan doing this job. Because the aliens are rewiring his brain to communicate.
At this point in the series, the writers had almost completely forgotten about Chakotay, and they're just trying to find something for him to do. So
yeah,
they're coming up with any reason.
So the Akuchi Moya becomes a vehicle for talking to subspace aliens.
Well, isn't it known that Robert Beltran wasn't too happy with Chakotay? Like he begrudgingly stayed on the series for years.
Yeah, he kept asking for more money because he thought they would fire him, but they kept paying him, and he's like, okay, and he just delivered a cardboard performance. He said that, and he also said he regrets it.
Whatever. But he's fine.
I mean,
he's rolling on all that Voyager money. He
apparently
okay.
didn't hate Chakotay too much because now he's doing it again.
Yeah.
Well,
look, I mean,
guys got to eat.
Look, I'm pretty sure if you could tell Denise Crosby, hey, do you want to be Tasha Yar for like seasons 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, she would change her mind. But obviously,
Denise Crosby. I mean,
when they and by the way, not for nothing. I mean, Patrick Stewart was thinking about leaving the show. Like,
Patrick Stewart didn't think it would last past the pilot.
Yeah,
he was ready to leave the show in season 1.
He literally didn't unpack his suitcase.
So he didn't have high hope.
He didn't want to come back at all.
No,
for episode 2 of season 1.
He would have been fine. He would have been fine.
You can see the exact moment. The exact moment he's checked out of Star Trek Next Generation is when they engage the Borg, and he sits down at his seat and crosses his legs. That's the exact moment where he is completely checked out of the series.
I mean, they were almost
like the first time they engaged the Borg, or like later on.
In season 3, before in Best of Both Worlds Part 1. After that point, like that is a point where he just doesn't care anymore.
The studio was almost done caring about the show too, except then that was a summer block, like 2-parter, and you wouldn't get
wait. Is that the Romulan like hologram ship from Enterprise? The Marauder?
That's interesting.
Like I knew the Marauder was a reused model. I think that's it.
Let's see. Hold on. Oh, I missed it.
Well, Enterprise wasn't on air yet.
Do you have a screen grab?
No.
But they had the asset and they just reused it.
Well, that was a CGI ship though in Enterprise.
Yeah. It's an asset. They reused it. It's digital.
Okay.
It's saved on the hard drive.
Okay, Robo.
What's the?
They just saved the 3D model. Use it again. It's fine. Like they reused the triangle ship everywhere.
What was the? What's the name of this episode?
The
Fight.
In the 90s, there was a brisk iced tea commercial, and they actually got Sylvester Stallone to do it, but Rocky is getting beat up by his opponent, and his boxing coach is like, "It's over, Rock," and then
I have the high ground.
And then a beat up Sylvester Stallone, "Nothing's over, just give me something to drink." And then he gives him brisk iced tea, and like 30 seconds later, Rocky wins the fight in the commercial. I'm like, yeah, brisk. It's and it's also Lipton iced tea. So very, very, like, in other words, you could parody Rocky so much. They did. And I feel like this episode is another parody of Rocky.
Also, I looked it up. Yes, it is a reuse.
Yeah, I was just about to send it to you.
If you would like to see the two pictures, they are in the Discord general chat.
Something else that boxers do, they can't have sex like before a match because they need like the pent up energy to beat the crap out of the other person.
I like how you're just making stuff up now.
No, did you see Raging Bull? Okay, I encourage you to watch the Scorsese movie. He has a girlfriend. He can't have sex with his girlfriend because you need the energy.
I don't think that's like a rule anybody has written down anywhere. I think it's a thing that you saw in a movie and you're repeating it like a fact.
Boxers can't ejaculate before a match.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Exactly, right? Like it's something that you heard in a movie.
Okay. So
you heard a character say it, but there's like you don't find the scientific paper that explains this. Like, you get what I'm saying?
I don't think you're in the boxing subculture quite enough because you would know that then.
Are you?
But I mean, is it a hard and fast rule, or is it just one of those like general?
It's just something that
tribal knowledge.
do.
From personal experience, I know I could take a better beating if I have a little bit more.
Okay, look, I'm looking this up. I don't believe you. I'm looking it up.
Right.
Like, I don't think like as part of like
another popular myth is that having
an
sex in
HBO
the days leading up to a
match.
sporting event or contest is detrimental to performance. Numerous studies have shown that there is no physiological basis to this myth.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
It's actually probably the opposite.
Anybody who's a boxer knows that's how you do it.
It's just superstition, dude. It's just something that somebody made up, like not changing your shorts. Like it's 100% in your head.
Oh yeah, if I have to wear the same unclean pair of underwear, or else my team will lose.
Okay, wait, hold on.
Exactly.
No. But so much energy is bottled up in the sex instinct. So I don't think it's. I think it checks out. I really do.
Dude, come on.
Actually, so I had read that before you exercise, if you have sex, it actually improves the efficiency of the exercise because it increases your testosterone levels.
Do you?
So
exercise?
it's like, do I exercise? Yes.
Okay, and have you found that to be true or less true or more true?
Are you asking me if?
Just anecdotal evidence.
Okay. Hang on. So, Chakotay. So I think the way to use Chakotay would be to give him episodes, like literally one episode that's not focused on him being a fake Native American. Like, that's all he is.
That's his character.
His whole character is Native American, but it's not real Native American anyway.
I mean,
he doesn't get to do anything meaningful.
At the beginning of the series, there was always that conflict of him being a former Maquis, and then like the combining of the two crews, and he had a little bit more to do, but
they dropped it immediately.
Really quickly. 3 episodes when they decide, yeah, we're all working together now. Yeah. But I liked that kind of the two crews combining conflict, and they didn't really milk that as much as they should have.
You remember in the pilot where Chakotay and Tom were trying to get out of a cavern, and Tom was like, "Oh, can't your people turn into birds and fly away?" Like, Tom, you can't just say that.
Tom Paris is a dick.
Trimetric fracture.
Tom Paris.
Why are we believing anything Chakotay says right now?
I'm not believing anything he says. You can speak for yourself.
Trimetric fracture.
Renticular warp drive.
Oh, something else Raging Bull does that this episode does. It uses a wide-angle lens, which makes it you see the warping of the image, but the center subject remains the same, but everything else zooms out. Very famous director move.
Wow, Chakotay needs us to reticulate our splines.
Other missteps is I think they should have kept Tom Paris to be Nicholas Locarno. I think that would have been a good. They could have done something with his character more than just,
So there's some debate about that whole thing, because there was kind of a story going around about how they wanted Nicholas Locarno, but they didn't want to pay residuals to the writer who came up. Yeah, but then they.
I don't think they paid residuals to a writer for coming up with a character like that. But anyway.
Yes, yeah, they do. Yeah, they have to. The writer came up with the character, and then they use the character later on. Yeah, that's.
The studio
I think we've all heard that, but I've not seen
it's unverifiable.
The studio owns everything, like the likeness, whatever your intellectual product is. It's no longer anyway.
I guess they were interviewing for Tom Paris, and they were saying that they wanted someone who's like Robert Duncan McNeil, and then he was like, "I'm Robert Duncan McNeil."
They wanted Robert Duncan McNeil type. Yeah.
Right. We can't get any more like Robert Duncan McNeil than Robert Duncan McNeil.
They could have gotten the guy from Nova Squad, Red Squad from DS9.
Yeah, their backstory was so similar. Him being in jail, having done something wrong, that kind of thing. Like it could have.
Yeah.
The story could have tracked, but then it would have just given that character a little bit more, something more to do. And it always bugs me, the continuity of using the same actors for different roles. It's always kind of bothered me, but.
Jeffrey
When you clutter him up with makeup, you can get away with it.
There's the guy, Hertzler. There's the guy that played the Romulan defector, and then he played Odo's doctor, discoverer, researcher, and he plays a whole
Admiral
bunch of
Jarok.
Yep.
We get Tim Russ on the Enterprise.
Well, there's also Michelle Forbes playing Ro, and then also playing David Ogden Steer's daughter in that one episode.
Yeah, but whatever.
Which episode?
Renee Auberjonois was in
the
one where Half a Life, where Lwaxana falls in love with a guy who has to kill himself at the age of 60.
At the age of 60.
Oh yeah. Wow, that's also, right before she came on the show too as Rolaren.
Yeah, it was 2 episodes before she premiered.
I'll be honest,
also played a bunch of characters too.
Oh yeah.
So of all the Next Generation female main cast, if we can consider her a female, I think she was the most attractive to me.
She was great in Battlestar Galactica as well.
She was the captain of the Pegasus, right?
Yeah, she was the Pegasus captain. And she kind of acts the same way that what's the episode of Voyager where they meet that other ship, the other Federation ship?
Wait, wasn't the captain of the Pegasus Admiral Pressman, then Captain Pressman? Who's she?
No, he's talking about the Pegasus in Battlestar Galactica.
In Battlestar Galactica, Michelle Forbes plays. Yeah.
The Battlestar Pegasus.
Yes, I remember that. It's like, what do you mean? Admiral Pressman's not a woman.
Yeah.
And what's her name? Starbuck shoots her in the face.
Well,
maybe she shouldn't dish it out if she can't take it.
Yeah.
Hey, this is hilarious. Kim looks up to Chakotay.
Seriously, Kim?
Why are we doing character development for Kim all of a sudden?
This isn't character development for Kim.
Tuvok will be your first officer.
Also, I actually really love the fact that Kim sees Chakotay as a role model, because Chakotay is barely even a character, and so is Kim.
Yeah, basically. I hope I can be as half a character as you someday.
I like where B'Elanna just said, "You're being selfish," and he's like, "Works for you." It's great.
You know what else I like about this episode? It's shot in the same the emissary speaks kind of thing with all the prophets and the whitewash.
What is happening?
It's not linear. And they have the same music too. It's not linear. No, it's not linear. So yeah, Deep Space Nine, Vaseline on the camera, all that. The emissary.
Yeah, the high contrast Vaseline on the lens filter for
Oh,
Star
here's-
Trek
I mean,
dream sequences is like the
this
yellow
was already
filter
getting
for
really
Breaking
old
Bad
by the end of
Mexico
DS9.
sequences.
Mhm.
Here's what's his face? Neelix gaslighting him. You're fine. You're fine. Nothing's wrong. Keep going.
You know, something I really got to thank Voyager for, though, is that the Doctor introduces us to the Swedish massage technique, which Neelix is now doing. But it's really great. Like when you have to just, there's so much tension on one's back. The percussive action of like hitting the palms of your hands against someone's back. Really good.
What is
therapy.
happening?
They're telling him to keep doing the Akuchi Moya thing so we can get out of here. And he's
Was it?
Are-
Wait, I'm trying to remember. What episode was it that the Doctor disguised himself as like a female alien masseuse and was massaging someone and surreptitiously scanning them? What episode
It's-
was that?
Wait, is
It's
that when
season
7 of 9 like
somewhere.
yeah. Wait, is that the one where the Doctor puts himself into 7 of 9?
No.
No?
He's
No, that happens
disguised
twice.
as a non-human alien.
so
And he's giving someone a massage, and then he's secretly scanning them, and he gets caught. What was that? What
Yeah,
episode
yeah.
was that?
It's coming up. It is season 7, as Ryan said. Grandfather's here, and we're in the same dream world that the emissary lives in. And the world.
Oh, yes. Chat person found it. It was, well, I don't know the name of the episode, but when he was pretending, he was scanning his creator, Louis Zimmerman.
Oh, yeah.
And Troy is there, and Barkley is there, and the
Barkley.
iguana's there.
Barkley
Wait,
did not
sorry.
get enough screen time.
This episode has a lot of wrong things.
Barkley's entire life is screen time.
Grandfather, you're not taking your medicines. It's like, which medicine? It's like the one the doctors gave you. It's like there are many kinds of medicines, and they're just letting him wander around.
420 Chocote.
I just
It's
want
nature's
to. I hope I don't know. I hope this doesn't upset anybody, but I just wanted to mention that
I'm ready on the mute.
liking weed is not a personality. If your entire
it can
personality
be.
is just
It can be.
weed
Well,
culture,
hang
you don't
on.
have a personality.
What about
You don't-
people
You don't.
whose Star Trek is their personality? Is that a personality?
No.
It is.
Although
Your
that's a pretty deep
personality-
well to draw from.
Your personality can't be defined by a single thing that you like. Like that's that's not a personality. But like I don't know, somebody posted a picture on Imager and they're like, my wife says my desk is too messy. What do you think? And it's like it looks like he took a grinder and ground up like 5 ounces of weed and just poured it on his desk. Like I'm not joking. He filled his keyboard with it, and it's like, dude, no one cares. You smoke. We get it. No one cares.
Mhm.
You smoke weed. Congratulations.
Mhm.
This episode's so weird. I have no idea what's happening. I've completely lost track. I don't know what the point of these visions are. I don't know if this is the aliens talking or the crew. I don't know what's happening.
It was the psychedelic 90s. Everyone was taking mushrooms. The doctor's hilarious here. Like, they wake him up, and somehow Chakotay unconscious recognizes.
Bear baiting?
Oh, he
People
has the stone in his
Is that
head.
like the bull run but with a bear? What?
He has the stone in his hand, and the stone has a spiral with a line through it, and it's theorized that that's a wormhole that goes across the Milky Way galaxy.
I have a question. After we
He's
lose
gotta find
Kess,
Bahala.
who's the doctor's nurse?
Tom.
Nurse Chapel?
What?
The actress who
Wait, what
plays
is-
Nurse Chapel in Strange New Worlds, what's the deal with her chin?
What do you mean? What's the deal with her chin? What does that mean? What? I'm looking at a picture of her. She looks like a perfectly normal person. What are you talking about?
Her chin is like undersized and it's like receded from where it should be.
As long as we're objectifying people, I just noticed that like Tom is just gaining more and more weight, and like he's almost like.
Is that objectifying? Is asking what's up with a physical
It's a
feature
weird question because
objectifying?
she looks
It's just
totally
like
normal.
it's a
It's just a
person.
chin.
Like I mean, some people are born a certain way. We have chins that stick out, stick in.
I understand that. I'm just wondering if it's like if it's just a random trait or if it's like a congenital, if it's like a sign of something, you know.
I think her chin is
you're-
probably genetic. Yes.
Your belly button looks different than mine, probably. You know. So, but I'm saying though, Robert Duncan McNeil, he's like Jonathan Frakes by the end of the show. He's just like huge.
What?
He just puts on so
just
much.
keeps
weight.
growing until he gets to be 6'4". Is that what you're saying?
I'm just saying he's just such a chub by the end of the series.
Rude.
Hey, where are we on getting Major Barrett's voice as like in an AI generator? Has that already been achieved?
I'm sure we have that
I mean,
already. They did it. They did it for
yeah.
Darth Vader already.
We need,
Yeah.
we need to do it.
I wonder if
They have so
Paramount's-
much of her voice recorded.
Yeah. They should probably have the entire phonetic, the
Yeah.
phonetic language all
And-
recorded
and-
at some point.
And we have Loaxana and Nurse Chapel also. So
I don't think she played Nurse Chapel.
the other
She
nurse.
played OG Nurse Chapel in the
Yeah.
original series. Major Barrett did.
Are you sure? I think she
Yes,
plays a different
positive.
role in the original series.
Please let this be the day.
I thought it was I thought it was a different role.
Robo gets.
No,
swung-
that's her. She's Nurse Chapel. It's Major Barrett.
Nurse Christine Chapel. Yeah. Wait. She also played number 1 in
Yes.
Oh, okay.
In the
pilot?
the cage.
the menagerie, whatever.
in the
Or-
the cage.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
what
the
I was
menagerie.
thinking.
Okay. So yeah, we have plenty of her.
She was the first Star Trek actor to play two different roles and confuse everybody.
Well, they didn't show that pilot, did they? So
She went from being first officer to being nurse. Whoa.
right, and
Well, they gave
Ouch.
her a blonde wig to make her look
So-
her look different.
she also went from being the least sexualized character to being the most one.
What is happening? What is he talking about?
Oh,
He had
Robo-
he had an accident, and the
He's-
prophets are trying to tell him about where Bahala is.
He's like half
And he
aware
doesn't
that
wanna
he's trying to
stop his
contact
visions.
aliens, and half thinks he's still stuck
They-
in the fight.
they've rewired his brain so he can't think like a normal person does. But rope-a-dope is another boxing strategy. It's when you just like stay in a corner or against the rope and your opponent keeps beating you up, but like you're making him expend all his energy on like pummeling you. And then a couple of rounds later, he's too tired to pummel you, and that's when you take out your pummel action.
Or hear me out. Or you use a gun.
Yeah, do the old Indiana Jones on the streets of Cairo trick.
Let me
That
back
was
in the
one of the
ring.
best moments of the movie, and that was completely improvised because at the time, Harrison Ford, there was a huge choreographed fight scene that they filmed a lot of it, and they were doing takes and takes, and he's like, I can't keep doing this because he was suffering from dysentery at the time. He's like, what if I just shoot him? And Steven Spielberg was like, yeah, let's do that. But yeah, the deleted scenes with the actual sword versus whip fight is pretty neat.
Well, and then during the special edition, they do the thing where the swordsman swings first, and then Indy shoots him. And it caused a huge controversy because it was like Indy shot first. It was a whole thing.
Right, exactly. George Lucas can't keep himself from ruining his own work. It's great.
I just
Well,
rewatched.
he can once he sold it to Disney.
I just rewatched
They're
it.
not, they're not letting him come near it.
I just
And
rewatched,
someone else gets to ruin his work.
Yeah.
I watched Apocalypse Now, Redux Edition. So it was saying in the Amazon trivia, it was filmed in 1976, and Harrison Ford has a minor role as like a little colonel at the beginning of the episode of the movie, hardly 5 minutes before they send Martin Sheen to up the river in Vietnam. And so in 76, when it was filmed, Harrison Ford was a really minor actor, well, relatively. And then by the time they released the film in 79, he was a huge actor. So the character's name that Harrison Ford plays in Apocalypse Now is named G. Lucas, after George Lucas.
The Maquis.
Was his boxing name actually the Maquis Mauler? Because I feel like that's a bad thing to advertise at Starfleet Academy.
I don't think the gardener was the boxing coach.
No, he was. They talked about that earlier when Chakotay was still sane.
Okay.
But, like, surely he wasn't actually advertising himself as a member of the Maquis.
Mm-hmm.
Surely.
We look at that futuristic purple shirt.
Mm-hmm. He does have cool clothes on.
Apparently you're not going. Actually, he is going somewhere. This is his last episode.
Kid Chaos.
Okay, that effect I do like.
Yeah, it is.
That's cool. I'm pretty sure what actually happened is it's just a dude wearing a green suit.
This
but that's fine.
montage is so great. By the way, this is called a montage in film. I learned that in film class.
Yes, we're all familiar with the concept of a montage.
No, but it's a very important concept in film.
They're not lost. They know exactly where they are.
Oh my god, they're doing the same thing I do in my videos, where you just clip together little lines.
But again, you have the Cisco kind of cinematography going on.
No, but with the Cisco, they just film the actors saying the whole lines and make them blurry. This is just cutting together existing clips.
But didn't they whitewash them also? Was that post? I feel like they refilmed a lot of this stuff. I mean, these days, with digital, you can just increase the exposure without refilming.
How could they both do this with a straight face? This is the weirdest episode.
Yeah.
Is this where Robert Beltran started asking for more money?
And they said, no, but we're going to do a whole episode about you being a boxer because we just want to see you get hit in the face.
Doctors don't say crazy, okay? So you can't tell your patient you have the crazy gene. But yeah, it's kind of implied maybe the grandfather was schizophrenic or something, and Chakotay has the schizophrenic gene.
Doctors might not use that word, but the doctor does.
We don't say that word.
They're speaking English, man. What do you mean? They just told you.
They couldn't have transmitted this through Morse code. Tallies. Oh, I like this part though. Because he's obviously crazy, and he goes on the bridge, and he wants to reprogram, and Janeway shouldn't let him.
But if he doesn't know how long he can keep it in his mind...
Like,
okay, I thought he was just going to call.
He could be completely off his rocker. You're going to let a hallucinating first officer?
Yeah, dude, it's Starfleet. They see weirder things on the daily.
Okay.
They're fine. Look, Tuvok, if you do what he's saying, you might die. If you do nothing, you will die.
But there's no
logic in that.
There's no record of chaotic space at all in the Federation database? At all?
Don't worry about it.
Just put it in the log as another subspace phenomenon we discovered.
Okay, go to warp. Just leave. Just leave.
Why didn't they bring back Nagilum?
Well, how come it was "I, sir" and not "yes, ma'am"?
All right, Chakotay.
Why does nobody call Captain Janeway what she said in the first episode explicitly she wanted her crew to call her?
Ma'am or captain?
She told them. Yeah, Captain. Ma'am
Yeah.
is acceptable in a crunch, but she prefers Captain. Nobody calls her... Okay. I think Tuvok is the only one who calls her Captain. Tuvok and Seven.
Have you ever punched a punching bag, Ryan?
I don't remember. Maybe.
Where did you get this gym from?
It's the
A
holodeck.
holodeck.
No, I'm saying, but the set is like from a movie or a TV show. That's
The
already...
Paramount backlot.
Yeah,
Yeah, they probably just had it laying around. It's fine. Or they just went up to some random gym owner, was like, "Hey, can we borrow your place for a day?"
It looks very studio like though, because it's very well lit and all that. But yeah.
Well, I don't think that this is
They have a holographic
regular-
boothby as a.
I don't think this is just a
coach?
regular gym because of the turnbuckle stanchions are distinctly Star Trek.
He punched the camera.
That's a great way to end the episode. We get
Alright.
George Costanza.
Yes, 1 minute to the
I
final
hate this episode.
I love
Why?
this
It's good.
episode.
Think Tank, I hate it.
Love.
I can't stand. What's his name?
We
Jason
even
Alexander.
we even
Jason
get the,
Alexander. Thank
we
you.
even get the prop from 2001: Space Odyssey, right? Because one of those is like a robot from a 60s sci-fi show.
I'm trying to
this is a
find filming information about what this set was. It doesn't look like it says it anywhere on Memory Alpha.
My favorite moment with George Costanza on Seinfeld is when he says, "Hey, I'm George. I'm fat, balding, unemployed, and I live with my parents." I think he says that on a date or something. But it lets you know the character doesn't take himself too seriously.
What you should take seriously is pressing play in 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Actually, he's a huge Star Trek fan, so I'm really glad he got to make an appearance. This is messed up.
What, the fact that there's a blue man?
Yeah, we never see these blue aliens, and it's clear that they hold all the power when it comes to doing favors for other species.
Is that a member of the think
March
tank, or is that
31st,
just...
1999?
That's a member of the think tank. That's their time travel expert on relativity and stuff. I think my favorite part.
If he's so smart, why can't he speak English?
That looks like the double wheel. Oh, that's from a space Captain Proton or something.
That spiky prop they were just at looked familiar.
And to me, this is one of the Zindi, the aquatics. Like, it may be another species of aquatics that we don't see.
Why do you have to be so creepy, Jason?
I mean, this is almost bordering on Doctor Who level of acting, like early Doctor Who stuff.
He kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of G-Man.
I can't stand his voice.
He did a
Rise
great-
and
Or his-
shine,
or
Mr.
his
Blue
face.
Man.
He did a great job.
Is what we do.
He's like, by the way, something that I don't know. They had to make him look different than every other alien species, but I don't know why they had to put a slit in his forehead.
I mean, that blue alien's pretty unique.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's a pretty good looking one.
I love it.
I present to you this rock.
In lieu of payment.
I sense you are.
Oh.
Yes, it is line.
There's a continuity problem here. Here, the aliens say that we need this ore to make our replicators work. Later, Janeway is like, how about we give you our replicators in return for technology? So, I mean, they have no need for your replicators, Janeway. They know all about it.
So,
Well, the way you feed your people is by feeding half of the people to the other half of the people.
so the think tank is supposed to be like the Faustian bargain people. They save you, but they sort of ensure your death.
So this is mostly Star Trek acting, though. It's like you pause before you say the word that you really want to say. I'd hate for you to get lost in such an unfamiliar place.
I mean, this is just some kind of fun minutia. This episode was filmed between the 7th and the 15th of January, 1999, and it's January 15th today. So, you know,
My God.
20, the
24
24th
years.
anniversary.
This episode's almost as old as I am.
Wow.
Almost.
George
Your birthday's
Costanza,
in January?
You can assume that if you would like to, for sure.
George Costanza was at the peak of his career here, so it was really cool. Like, you know, we get The Rock in a couple of episodes.
That's why he could get away with this.
Yeah. But comedic gold, Seinfeld was the #1 show of like all time. #1 ratings. It's kind of cool getting him as a guest star.
Honestly, I've never seen him in anything other than this. I'm conceptually aware of George Costanza.
Yeah.
But to me, he is just Kuros.
Yeah, he's like sad and mopey in for both the roles. It's kind of funny. Like, he can't get a girlfriend in Seinfeld.
And there's 709.
Until he does get a girlfriend, and then they get engaged, and then she dies from licking the invitations. And then
Spoiler.
he goes around showing a picture of her to all these women, because somehow that gets him dates.
Mm-hmm.
George Costanza is a very odd fellow.
What is that TNG looking prop? What is... That's very
He's not
season
just a
1
guest
TNG.
star. He's a special guest star.
That was so at the time that this episode was made, Tiger Electronics had a handheld lights out thing, hexagonal lights out thing. I think that's this, like just lots of them put into a enclosure.
Mm.
What is it supposed to... Is it a game? Is it a...
It's a puzzle.
It's lights out. It's a lights out game, basically.
I don't know what that means.
But if you notice that they all lights out, you've never played lights out.
No.
It's like when you push a button, it turns that light off, but it turns all the adjacent ones on. It flips it.
Or yeah.
Oh god, everyone's
But
playing.
with
Is this
this-
episode sponsored? Why is everyone playing with it?
There's just one prop. There's one prop, and then they multiplexed the lights to every side, so every side shows the exact same. It doesn't transfer across the edge. They just cheated.
The game was actually delivered from Ryza, and it makes people like hypnotized.
It's just like the Katarian game too from the game in TNG.
What?
Oh, wow.
I don't remember that at all. They just
When did a
exploded
planet
a planet?
And Voyager survived. Sorry. You know, planets are pretty. There's a lot of debris when a planet explodes.
I'm trying to find the hexagonal version.
It's written by Rick
sure it
Berman and
exists.
Brandon Braga, so obviously it's going to have some.
Why do you have to add that last little bit, Seven? Why do you... They make excellent tactical drones. Why would you say that?
It means that they're tactically gifted.
Also, it's clearly the think tank that hired them. We know this.
Do we?
Well, they were very clearly portrayed as villains in the intro,
Yeah.
in the cold open, and now they're like, oh, who could have hired these dangerous mercenaries to attack us?
I like how they call it the Hazari paradox. Like, what is the paradox? Paradox is you hired a bunch of goons, and now we're going to unhire them.
Also,
Not really-
we've seen this alien species before.
Not really a paradox.
I think these people, like, beamed into a shuttle once and stunned the crew. Janeway doesn't bluff. Fire. Yeah, no, Janeway doesn't bluff. It's not her thing.
So when planets explode, they just turn into gas.
So that station that 7 of 9 is standing, is that like the tactical station? Or no, that's Tuvok station, right?
Yeah,
It
the tactical's
it
over on
reminds
the
me very
left.
much of Worf. It reminds me very much of like where Worf would stand.
Yeah,
on the
so
bridge of the Enterprise.
technically, Tuvok is chief of security, and then my guess is then 7 is at tactical.
7 even doesn't have a chair.
Because, like you said, that is where Worf stands.
Yeah, she's standing at the archway
Or-
behind the captain's
Or
seat. So.
before that, where Tasha would stand, right? Because she was the original tactical.
They really did love this set during the later seasons.
The astrometrics.
Yeah, the astrometrics lab.
Ever since 7 joined, the astrometrics lab is like her home, basically. That's her office.
Though I still
Nobody
can't
else.
believe it was bloody Harry that designed an astrometrics lab with Borg tech. How did that work?
He's a very talented ensign.
Is he? What does he do? What is his job?
Is he
It seems like his job is
operations?
communications.
Oh yeah, that's a good question. Because you've got, on the Enterprise, you'd have Helm and the Khan, right? Well, Data was operations, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Data was ops.
He was second officer.
I think Harry's supposed to be ops and
Operation.
also comms, but
And Data was also chief science officer, if you didn't know. But the other thing is, though, Paris is on a command track, and Harry wouldn't be on a command track, in theory.
so
I think
Even though
Harry is supposed to be Data.
Right, but also Harry
Yeah.
is character-wise is supposed to be on a command track because Janeway talks to him like, "Look, I want you to learn everything so you'll be a good captain one day."
Ah, yes, and that one time when he is the captain, he gets tricked into smuggling stuff by Shepherd Book. Good job, Harry.
Or the ship turns
It's
into
pretty
pulverized.
telling that Tom Paris gets promoted, demoted, and then promoted again
Before
from
Harry does anything.
before Harry gets even a promotion at all.
Before he gets a pat on the back.
Yeah, and Tom Paris is married twice before Harry even gets a girlfriend. What I like about this thing, we get some new tech, because being a lifelong Trek fan, the technology gets a little bit old. Here we have an isomorphic projection, which is different
Dude, it's
than a
just
hologram.
a hologram. It's the same thing. Come
It's
on.
it's different than a hologram.
No,
because,
it's not.
Because it registers as a real life sign on the sensors. An isomorphic projection. Also, holograms can't go through shields, and isomorphic projections can. See, like he's drinking the coffee. He tastes
But then
it.
what happens when the isomorphic projection dematerializes?
I don't know.
The coffee
Does it transport the coffee to
spills
him?
onto the floor.
Funny. Also, where's the projection coming from?
I assume his ship is cloaked nearby.
No, but say where are the projectors inside Voyager to do the isomorphic projection?
He's projecting it from his ship.
Yeah,
Through
like how Damon Bach did to the Enterprise D.
Oh, he did that?
God damn it. Yeah, one of those dumb Ferengi people. I can't believe that Ferengi were supposed to be a serious threat. Really?
Oh, we have a paradox. Here's the paradox. How do we get out of this puzzle? He's like the biggest creep.
False. The best kind of puzzle is a Sudoku.
Yeah, pretty good.
His hair is all crazy. He's like such a genius.
At least he has hair now.
Mm-hmm.
Good for George.
I gotta say, like, as far as bad guys go, these are the best bad guys. Because their evil power is their intelligence. They do nothing but get smarter all the time. And that's made them a little bit evil. But in itself, it's not evil just to have, like, a bunch of really smart people help other people with their problems. It's just a problem when you create paradoxes that involve, like, give me all your resources or die. So they're sociopaths. And sociopaths, we know, are very naturally intelligent also. And they also have no scruples about manipulating people to achieve their
I don't think
ends.
the intelligence is inherent to sociopathy.
I think, like, because what they do is they're able to play society's morals off itself. Like, they're very manipulative, so that requires a high level of intelligence because they need to be able to manipulate.
Yep, there they are. Oh wow, yeah, that's pretty Doctor Who. Yes.
So neutronium. Can we look that up?
Neutronium is a super dense metal. In Stellaris, you can armor your ships with it.
Okay.
But the only other place I specifically remember, because I rewatched it recently, is Cardassian Central Command. The doors are made of neutronium.
Okay, so the Cardassians have it.
Though that was during Dominion occupation, so they might have, like, brought it from home.
Here they let Seven talk to one of their people, but that's not safe. Like, and Janeway's just like, yeah, go for it. So this is the temporal physics expert. How does a jellyfish understand temporal physics?
Don't worry about it.
A jellyfish smarter than Einstein?
George, come on, man. We know. Why are you acting like this?
He's never had a
Seven's
girlfriend.
the whole reason you're here.
He's never had a girlfriend.
This
Oh,
is
that's-
the language circle. We all stand around it.
I thought that was from D69, but apparently not. I thought it was the quantum chance dice changer that D69 had that made all the double games win. These are Zindi. They're like Megalodon Zindi.
No, it's
Megalodon.
bioplasmic.
Okay.
Why? A variable? That sounds awful. Variable gravity?
I just saw a YouTube video that called
You know.
the benzites, with the smoke coming out.
They're
of the heat.
stupid breathing masks.
Yeah, they called them like vape lords, and I thought it was so funny because he is just vaping all the time.
The guys with the harmonicas in front of their faces?
Yeah, and the nitrous oxide smoke.
And
But
the
sorry.
really questionable command protocols. They're like, nah, we don't need to report problems until it's solved.
Yeah. Jerry, you were saying something? I spoke over you. Sorry. So this is their AI.
That feels like a reused prop. I think we've seen it before.
But
Oh, I'm sure.
what I gotta say is like these bad guys. How do you not love these bad guys?
What's that floating computer in the original series?
Landrew?
It's
Obey,
a little bit like
Landrew.
Landrew.
Oh wow, they caught it. They got a
I
pet.
love the episode where we revisit Landrew in Lower Decks.
This is kind of like the way the Year of Hell, Krenim, they take like one souvenir from each species. So here he wanted his like jambalaya recipe.
I feel like he's lying here.
Yeah,
I don't believe him.
they'll probably like, give us all of your rare earth minerals. Thanks. And I think he's lying here, where we don't design weapons of mass destruction and we don't do genocide.
We do not have a line. We simply trade.
Like, if you can destroy their
Also-
fleet, then you can destroy their people.
He'll only murder an entire planet, but not if it's the last planet they own. How kind of him.
So they're mercenaries.
We won't
brains
commit a
for hire is
complete
what they are.
genocide. Only most of a genocide.
This doesn't make any sense. How does an AI have telepathy? I thought she was gonna have to like hook up something
just-
to something.
It's
It's just-
that big dome on the floor that allows them to
How
communicate.
did?
It's connecting via
How did-
Wi-Fi to her headpiece.
I was about to say, how did they know that she uses Wi-Fi 7 of 9? The Hazari paradox only exists because they created it.
Yep.
But that's not important right now.
It's like Vito Corleone said, "I'm gonna make them an offer they can't refuse."
So,
I
Janeway
recommend the
is offering
replicators.
them replicator tech.
They can literally invent anything that she has nothing to offer them except for
Well-
maybe cultural.
They asked for a transwarp coil, so they don't have that. The transwarp coil that we can't manage to install correctly.
It doesn't even work.
No, it doesn't work. But they want. She offers. Give me your broken
If it worked, they wouldn't be here, Jord.
You know what they're gonna ask for. You know what they want.
Harry Kim, the sexiest man, 1998.
Yeah, that's what they want.
Oh, that's the sphere from Discovery. See, it was canon all along. It was always here.
I'm telling you, that's aquatic Zindi in the thing.
It doesn't have the right limbs, though.
It's a megalodon version. Oh, look, here's the isomorphic projection.
No, I think that's him.
No. He's not here. He never comes aboard.
I can offer you this puzzle, dodecahedron. Brought to you by General Electric.
They have they want Neelix's recipe? Ew. Olmec, that comes from Chakotay's collection. He's not going to give up for...
Can't be serious. Item. Man.
But I don't think Kate Mulgrew is too upset that they're going to be bartering away 7.
Yeah, we could do that with the Zindi. We go, oh, but why does it have different limbs? It has all these weird fins. They do not discuss it with outsiders. We could do that for sure.
They do not discuss it.
So, typical 7, she's like, yeah, of course we should trade me. I'm just, it'll help us get home faster. Like, 7, no reasonable person thinks that they should be put on the chopping block for everybody else.
Yeah, she's into it. She doesn't care.
She really doesn't mind. Like, if it was up to her, she'd be transferred and doing Einsteinian relativity calculations all day.
Borg, do not sit.
Yeah.
With the jellyfish.
So I had this really good idea for a video a little over a week ago. Now I can't remember it.
Yeah,
Right.
sorry. Okay. But something I want to say about the AI? I kind of like, obviously the AI doesn't have a gender, so they don't gender it either. The thing that talks to 7.
What do you mean? But in Star Trek, didn't you watch the original series? Male and female are universal constants. Any living being has to be either male or female.
Well, unless you're that progenitor. What was that? That Trip got to commit suicide.
No, see, that's not canon, because that contradicts what Star Trek TOS said about gender. The original series is weird.
Yeah. We've outgrown that concept. I mean, not even all living creatures, sexual reproduction comes way after the evolutionary thing. It's always asexual reproduction.
The weirdest thing about that whole exchange about them being universal isn't really just the fact that they said that, because it's the 60s, whatever. They weren't talking about people, but they were saying that about a cloud. A literal cloud.
Yeah, it makes no sense.
Well, then in TNG we get the Janai.
Yeah. Oh, look, he shows up to Lobby 7. Oh, she already had her interview. So, not to spoil the episode, but that link with the artificial intelligence is how they disrupt the ship later, the enemy ship. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
But so no one has security. That thing was free to invade 7's the circuitry, and she was free
Circuitry?
She was free to, I mean, what else are you gonna call it? And she was free to invade their systems with her mind.
You mean nobody is running McAfee, antivirus, firewall, internet security?
No, I'm pretty sure they're all running McAfee. That's why we're having all these problems.
Ha! I'm running Kaspersky. Ha!
I'm running Windows Defender.
Yeah, Windows Defender. Just use Windows Defender, everybody. It's fine.
It
You know,
is.
Casper-
It's totally fine. It's
It's
a very,
yeah,
very solid
I'm not saying that
antivirus.
sarcastically. I'm
Then
saying
Then why are you
that
using that
genuinely.
tone of voice with me, young man?
That's just my
Kaspersky
normal
has
tone
links
of voice.
to Russian state security apparatus.
Of
So-
course it does.
Okay, so
Of course
you
it
know,
does.
I'd rather
Yeah,
take
he's
Windows
a
Defender.
Rusky. Didn't you know?
Just saying. Just saying.
7 of 9, you can spend the rest of your life here with me and my friends, like that jellyfish and our
Okay, yeah.
orb.
This guy has a sad story. So again, George Costanza, pathetic number one. It's like he was kidnapped as a young kid and he was forced to work as part of the think tank.
Why?
That's pretty depressing. I feel bad for this guy.
Do you? He literally told you 10 minutes ago that he's committed multiple genocides.
Yeah, true. And he's about to kidnap Seven, or like he put Voyager in the whole. In other words, he blackmails entire planets into giving up resources because of situations he created.
As a Borg, you have very efficient knowledge of how to commit genocide. We could use it.
Yeah, and now he's like peer pressuring Seven, and she's like, no. And he's like,
Peer pressuring.
well, he's like, we're gonna stay nearby in case.
Yeah, he's like, hey, Seven, everyone's doing it. Everyone's joining us.
It's totally
cool,
your
you'll
decision
join
if you want to stay with the people who are totally making fun of you behind your back and don't respect you.
Yeah, and also he's like, can I follow you to the bridge? It's like, how does Janeway allow him to have access? I like how he gives a free tip here.
Do we? Okay, we are gonna fire back. I never know if Voyager starts getting shot if they're ever gonna shoot back, because there was one episode where the cold open was they were just taking shots from every direction, shields were failing, they were going down, they were about to be destroyed. And not once in that entire sequence did they ever fire back. They didn't do anything to avert their fate. They were just taking it. Just shoot them. Okay, that's 2 torpedoes down. Do you think his calculations take into account that they're the main characters? Rude. Just hung up on him. So yeah, I'm still completely convinced that the think tank are the ones who hired the Hazari to engineer the situation.
Oh yeah, they did.
100%.
Oh, you didn't know that?
No, I did know that. It's very obvious.
Is that a jellyfish or a guild navigator?
Yes.
The female voice sounded pretty enticing.
The jellyfish?
I mean,
You're enticed by a jellyfish?
I can't believe it's Sunday.
Wait. Is this a simulation? Because yeah, there was definitely part of Voyager's hull in there. Where did Voyager get an extra hull to explode?
Um, I love how she doesn't destroy them at the end of this episode, but she lets everybody else in the system destroy them. Really great plot.
All right. I like how the Voyager phaser rifles are an evolution of the TNG phaser rifles with kind of like a touch of the TOS design. I can see where they were going with it now. I didn't like them at first. I don't like the tuning fork on the end though. But the first contact phaser rifles are just chef's kiss.
Yeah, I mean, but having a movie budget helps, you know?
Honestly, a prop like that, it doesn't cost any more to like make it in those two shapes. They're just you carve one out of foam,
The movie,
and you make a fiberglass mold, and you just pop them out by the dozen.
The movie ones are pretty fancy.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're not really any different than these props.
I guess.
They cost the same, but they just look cooler because
the time frame you have to make
cooler.
these things is way different. Yeah.
Oh yeah, 7 years. They like. I mean,
for sure.
Did they have these in the first episode? Did they have phaser rifles in the pilot of Voyager? They were going to have new tricorders for Voyager, and they didn't. They just reused the TNG ones because
This
ran out of time and money. Yeah, somebody made a prop though based on the
it had
concept art.
lights. It had lights also.
Brace yourself. Wow, what a twist. Who could have seen this coming?
This is why it's not a hologram, and it's an isomorphic projection. Because on top of the isomorphic projection was the hologram of the Malon. I'm glad the Malon weren't the bad guys of this episode. We already dumped
Title
on
drop.
them enough.
I never really noticed how many title drops there were in Star Trek until I started explicitly looking for them.
Sorry, what is
It's
the
like
title
every
drop?
episode.
Where they say the name of the episode.
Yeah.
Oh, so they said think tank here?
They said think tank, yeah.
Okay.
They're a part of some
before
kind
that,
of
too.
alien think tank.
Well, he says later, oh, think tank. I like that.
Yeah.
Said it again?
I like this scene because I don't think any other Starfleet captain does this. We're all going to be locked in this room until we figure
The guy
it
who
out.
tried to blow us up, we're going to give him a nice coffee, sit around the table, have a chat.
We're going to reorganize the mess hall.
What other show exists where they invite the people that have been trying to murder them to a coffee table? Does any other show do this?
For a brainstorming session. But I guess the point is though that they're a think tank, so she's gonna put her think tank together, and she's gonna outsmart them with her people.
Okay, step one, lie to them and say, oh yeah, Seven will join you for sure, that seems fine. Step two, Seven beams in with a gun.
Yep. Or
She shoots... First, she shoots the orb, the language orb, and then she shoots George and the jellyfish.
They're so advanced.
Or do
They should be able to predict that she would never give her up, and that she was going to come up with some way to try and outsmart them.
Yeah, like kill everybody on the ship but Seven, and then be like, "Hey, you poor lonely boy."
Seven would never, or Janeway would never give Seven up. She would never let her down. She would never turn around and hurt her.
Nope.
Maybe what about Cherry?
Never gonna make her cry.
Would she give that up?
So she's James Kirk over here.
What? Why?
Because they ask her, "How did you solve the Rubik's cube?" And she's like, "I cheated." And it's like she doesn't care about cheating.
Cheating seems to be a relevant term only when one is caught in the act. Otherwise, it is viewed as intelligence.
I don't believe in no-win scenarios.
Well, you see, they have a think tank, and now Voyager's doing their own think tank. You see, it's a fire with fire situation.
Big brains.
But then why is
Clever.
Neelix here?
Big brains.
Why is Neelix there?
Is he
He's
just
there
here
to
to
fill up
provide them
coffee-
with snacks while they
coffee
think?
cups.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is Balana there? I didn't see Balana.
Well,
Yeah, she was there.
Up there she is.
She was there.
Oh yeah.
She didn't contribute much.
Well, she doesn't think so much as grunt. And
That would be part of a grunt
She's-
tank.
She's actually a really intelligent engineer. Funny. George Costanza is lying through his teeth.
Contract is a contract is a contract.
But none of
Rule
them
by
are
tradition.
Ferengi.
only among Ferengi is the next rule.
Yes.
Man, backstabbing bad guys. Who would have thought?
Nah, they're chill. It's all a ruse.
Oh, triangle ship?
No, that's not the real triangle. I mean, it's triangular, which I appreciate, but it's not the triangle.
Okay. We get a CGI triangle ship though, right?
I believe there are 2 more triangle ships in Voyager, but they're both in season 7. And then after that, we'll be totally out, because there are none in TOS. I don't believe they ever use it in Discovery.
Oh,
It might be in the
she
lower
uses.
decks.
She wastes 3 photon torpedoes over here.
They're already deep in the negatives. It doesn't matter.
Like 3. But again, Voyager's firepower is equal to any ship in the Delta Quadrant, 1-on-1.
Apparently, even the Borg. Even equal to the Borg.
Yeah, especially
I
as
don't
you
know how
get
that
towards
happened.
the well, the more you get towards the end of the series, the more equal it gets. Oh look, Captain Janeway's acting here.
Okay, it sounds like they're going with my plan where Seven pretends to join them and beams in with a gun.
Yeah. Okay, why does he have to hold up his hands in prayer before
He
the
doesn't
isomorphic-
have to. He's just dramatic.
before the isomorphic projection goes out of? There's no reason. Because
Did
he's
Seven
doing
hide the gun because she doesn't have pockets.
he talks slow like a cult sociopath would. Very smart.
What? That's crazy. What are you talking about, Kuros? That seems legit. It's fine.
How do you beat the genius?
With a gun. Big brain doesn't protect you against bullets.
He's like a Bond villain over here.
Why is he talking like that? Just shoot him.
Hey, why are there like 6 arrows on the universal translate thing?
Wait, why is he looking at... Oh, okay. That's why he's looking at a skull.
Yeah, they're using Seven's Wi-Fi antenna.
Really? It connected to her on an unsecure connection?
There is no password.
The password was Think Tank 1. They will
password
never
was-
guess it.
The password was Seinfeld.
Haven't they been a team for like 100 years? Why don't... I feel like they should have learned each other's languages by now.
Mm-mm.
And not rely on that.
Spatial charges means that they hide in subspace, and yet like they're bombing them in subspace when they're cloaked or whatever. Yeah, and so basically the way you drop charges on a submarine, they brought them to the surface.
Wait, but their shields are up. We just saw their shields. Okay.
Thank God we got our crew member out of there. Are we gonna look back as the other people destroy them?
Dude, you've lost. Just deal with your own problems. Just try to save your ship and leave.
That's a good lie by Seven.
She's taking a big risk here because if they somehow come through, they'll come after Voyager, I assume.
I think they have their own problems. Like the bounty on them, because they said that they've been causing trouble through the whole sector. So the bounty on them is like,
And now we leave
People
you
are very
to
upset.
die.
yes.
No, Mr. Costanza. I expect you to die. Yes, good. All right. So, very quick outro today. Those were the fight was terrible, as it always is, but the other two are pretty good. Next week are 2 really good episodes and 1 that I think is pretty good. So 2 amazing, 1 pretty good. Someone to Watch Over Me, which is a 7 episode, 7 and the Doctor. 11:59, which is we see Janeway's ancestor about it's like it goes back to like the 1990s, and it's about Janeway's ancestor like doing a space event thing, and she meets. It's a Christmas episode. Janeway's ancestor has a big office job and a space program, and she meets the small town librarian and his small son, and she falls in love. It's a Christmas episode. And then Relativity, which is 7 of 9, finally gets a uniform for all of 10 minutes.
Yep.
And it's really good. Someone to Watch Over Me and Relativity, fantastic episodes. And they're next week. And the stream is